The pressure on Russia and on Vladimir Putin is growing. New sanctions on its central bank just today. Russians now lining up at banks only to find ATMs out of cash. International flights now grounded. Some Russians telling Western journalists they don't support this war from Putin, some in tears, others protesting in the streets. But as our team has witnessed there, so many arrested, swiftly taken off the streets. And after this move to put nuclear forces on heightened alert by Putin, who's advising him and how isolated has Vladimir Putin become? James Longman from Moscow tonight.
Tonight, Russia is feeling the shock of Western sanctions, growing increasingly isolated from the world, a nation beginning to suffer for one man's war. The wave of economic measures unrelenting, Switzerland announcing it will break from its tradition of neutrality to freeze Russian assets, and the US now targeting Russia's central bank. Long lines at some banks and ATMs, many anxious to withdraw cash as the ruble sinks further against the dollar. And a growing fear of skyrocketing prices. Russia's central bank even closing the stock market early to avoid a crash. But still today, Putin defiant, calling the West an empire of lies.
Ordinary Russians are already starting to see their lives change because of sanctions, but Vladimir Putin could probably convince them that it's the West's fault. But what about those closest to him, the elite, the ones who've benefited from the luxurious perks of modern Russian life? Do they really want to follow Vladimir Putin down this apparent path towards economic misery?
All of this coming as Europe closes its airspace to Russian aircraft. With far fewer flights, the US is now telling its citizens to leave Russia immediately. And tonight, in response, Russia is banning airlines from 36 countries. The international outrage is growing. Soccer's governing bodies banning Russia from the World Cup and all competitions. Shell Oil announcing it will quit all its Russian operations. That follows BP, who divested its nearly 20% stake in the country's key oil company Rosneft. FedEx and UPS are also halting all shipments into the country. Google and Facebook's parent company Meta also blocking Russian state media from receiving money for ads. The potential for unrest in Russia high, with riot police flooding the streets and more than 5,000 people arrested in anti-war protests so far. The thought of closing Russia off and rolling back 30 years of progress since the Cold War, unthinkable to many Russians.
Экономика, оно такое, оно восстановится, а людей по уже не вернуть.
Just an extraordinary scene unfolding inside Russia. And James, I just wanted to inform our viewers that a senior defense official here in the U.S. Saying on this heightened nuclear alert status today that I don't believe we've seen anything specific as a result of this direction from Putin, at least not yet in terms of noticeable muscle movement. But there are so many who are asking who remains in Putin's inner circle. Who is he listening to at this point, if anyone?
Well, David, all the evidence suggests that this is a man increasingly alone, but those around Putin have the same Cold War mentality as him. They cannot afford perceived failure in Ukraine. The danger is he's not receiving accurate information about how this invasion is going or what the costs really are. David?
James Longman in Moscow for us again tonight. Thank you, James.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.